Hey, what's up, Black Knight Nation? It's Sal and Tornado. We're here on a Tuesday night, and we have a special co-host tonight, Kel Walker,
So
in for Steve Anderson. Steve Anderson's got some family matters to deal with, and we're gonna break down the Liberty win for Army, and we're also going to we're going to talk about these Army Navy jerseys, Kel, and we're
yes,
also
sir.
going to talk about the craziness of college football with these the coaches moving to new schools and
Mhm.
things that are opening up there too. Podcast is brought to you by Higher Echelon. Higher Echelon is a company ran by Joe Ross, who's a former Army fullback. He's a former Army assistant coach and he's former Army officer. We appreciate Higher Echelon sponsoring this podcast. Guys, if you have any questions tonight, if you're watching this podcast right now, you have any questions for Keller I about Army football, please send them in the comments, and we'll get to them. And also, you can check us out on Black Knight Nation on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. We have a bunch of podcasts. The last podcast we had, Kel, was Pete Dawkins. We had
Oh
Pete
yeah, I
Dawkins
saw
on
that.
here Friday morning, 10 a.m. We had the 1958 Heisman Trophy winner on for a
The
good solid
legend,
20 minutes.
the first captain, All American football star, Heisman Trophy winner. Like, yeah, Pete Dawkins. That's crazy.
Man, when
That's crazy.
when I see Pete, right? When I see Pete Dawkins, he's still going to attending games, right? And I guess
Yeah,
the last time he was at West Point, Bill Murray, the actor, was there with him. And
I
there's a
saw that.
picture of like Mike Buddy, the athletic director. There's a picture of Pete Dawkins and Bill Murray in one selfie, so to speak. And I'm like, that's crazy, man. So
That's a legendary photo. I know you were nervous interviewing Pete Dawkins. I would have been nervous, to be
you,
honest.
you you could see it a little bit. I was, and so
Yeah.
Steve handled a lot of the questions. So let Steve handle a lot of the questions, and I asked, I don't even remember. I asked him like one question.
Yeah.
I've seen him on the sidelines and games and talked to him for
Mhm.
like a hand. That's the longest I've ever talked to Pete Dawkins, obviously, 20
Yeah.
minutes. Just, hey, how's it going type of thing. I mean, great to have a guy like that visible in the program and somebody to look up to, too, right? I
Right.
mean, for the younger
Yeah.
players and for the current players, right? I mean,
Right.
when you were a player, right? I mean, I'm sure there's guys that have passed through the former players that maybe 1958 undefeated season. That's like that's the glory days of Army football right there. So
It is. It is. But I think now the glory days too. I think Coach Munkin they rebranded the program, and I think obviously football back then it was a lot narrower. It was a narrow road of football. A lot of teams
yeah,
weren't competing. I mean, it was in between wartime, so you got a lot of people in service, a lot of college athletes that actually couldn't play. But now, I think we'll see Army football be back on top for that. And Pete's a great guy because even when he's on the sideline of games, he's in warm up lines with us, and all he says is "Have a day." You know what I mean? He says so monotone, so well mannered. He just say "Have a day." I believe in you. That's it. And that's a lot of encouragement, especially from a Heisman Trophy winner. So and
that's
first
all you
captain
need.
at West Point. Let me tell you that.
That's all you need, right?
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Guy was a Rhodes Scholar, man. I mean, enough
Yeah,
said. Enough
yeah.
said. So what did you think about the Liberty win on Saturday? You know what? Quite honestly, there was some stuff going on in my house. Pre
Mhm.
getting ready for the Christmas tree already in late
Yeah,
November, and I was in and out of the first quarter, and that's where Army kind of really set the tone for this game, right? I
yeah.
mean, they got up a little early and had a great first half for sure.
Yeah, well, I watched the game in El Paso with some former teammates of mine, um, Rod Stoddard and Glenn Coates. We watched the game together, and we kind of said that Army kind of needed to make a statement for this game because I think the morning, Friday morning or Friday afternoon, they were playing an Army song. Liberty was playing an Army song, trying to make a mockery out of it. And the boys we don't really respond to threats like that very well, and you can see that with any game that we come to and go into. So, yeah, I think they needed a strong win over Liberty. Liberty is a great team. They got great athletes and they got a great head coach. They play for each other. They play together, and their quarterback is phenomenal. Phenomenal. He had an arm, and I think we just needed to come in this game and solidify ourselves. And the defense did that right off the bat, and the offense, I pretty much we ran with it. We just opened
Yeah.
it up off the gates. We ran with it, and the guys had fun doing it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a little crazy with Hugh Freeze of Liberty going for it on fourth down the way he did in the first half, and the
Are
defense was up.
you talking about is that the punt fake that he tried to do?
Oh, I tried that one too, but they went for
Yeah,
it a
yeah,
couple times too, and it's just
yeah.
like Army kind of. I think 3 or 4 times in the first half, Army stopped them on fourth down. That wasn't including a punt fake.
Okay.
And you know what, man, I might as well talk about it now. That punt fake that Bo Nicholas Paul picked off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Bo Nicholas Paul is a guy that I don't talk about a lot on this podcast, but I talk about him a lot with people around Army football that are fans.
Right.
And he's a guy who I was just waiting to make a play, to be honest with you. He
Mm-hmm.
had a good spring. I thought he'd get some playing time this season. He's gotten a little bit in the rotation with, Julian McDuffie out and Cam
Yeah.
Jones out. And then he makes that play. I mean, that's a game changer right there. You're up 3-0. And,
Yeah.
they tried to pull a fast one on you, and Bo wasn't having
Yeah,
it.
it
So.
is. I think that's a true testament, though, to the next man up because, I mean, they had a star cornerback, Julian McDuffie. Unfortunately, he suffered a injury. And, when it's your time to shine, you got to step up to the plate. And I think Bo did that. And he had a chip on his shoulder, as like any competitor would in college football, especially we were saying he should have gotten rotated in a little bit more, but he didn't. So once you finally get that chance to actually come in, you have a chip on your shoulder, and the epitome of that is Bo and Elijah Riley, former cornerback as well, who finally get to start for the Jets, and he has a chip on his shoulder going hard right now. So, I
Oh, yeah.
think you're gonna see a lot more of Bo. I think he's agile. I think you can put him anywhere too. He's malleable. You can put him in any situation. He might bend, but he won't break it anytime.
Yeah, I mean, he was making some special teams plays in this winning streak, this 4-game winning streak that the Army's on.
Yeah.
And in the spring, I mean, he was talking to the media, and he just had this 30-second bite that I posted on Twitter, and it was just
I saw
about
that.
I mean, that was crazy. It almost went viral, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy, who, like you, Kel, a guy who we got to get got to talk to you a little bit more. You got to talk to you a little bit with this guy because he just like you said, he has this swag. He has a little swag, Bo Nicholas
He
Paul.
does have swag. He does have swag, and I'm pretty sure you get that from his family and his city, and he get that from people that he grew up with and people that he around now. But he does have swag, and yeah, absolutely. The people that he hang around now on the team, because we are a brotherhood. Everybody on the team has swag, and I think he just emphasizes that a little bit more and brings that to light a little bit more.
Yeah, Bo Nicholas Paul. We're going to give Hillside, New Jersey, a shout out. That's where he's from. That's where he's from.
Jersey, man.
Jersey guy myself. I have to give the shout out to you had John Traynor with you, right? John Traynor played with you. John Traynor was a guy. I always say that Army needs to recruit New Jersey as much as they can because there's a lot of talent in that state, and a lot of Power 5 programs are vying for that talent, but there's guys like John Traynor and Bo Nicholas Paul that you can get in the program. I'm sure I'm missing Isaiah Alston too. Isaiah Alston is a New Jersey guy too. Yep. So that's a guy who's definitely making a difference with this team this year. So they're doing a good job of getting some Jersey talent in there. Enough of that. Man, they got Christian Anderson, right? Throwing the ball. UMass didn't look so good. Liberty, 3 for 3 right away. Getting those passes. I think he had Tyrell Robinson had a 51-yarder. The Brahim Murphy touchdown pass, 34 yards. I mean, how do you think he looked in this Liberty game?
I think Christian Anderson looked good. I think he looked poised. That's something that from the quarterback position, I think Kelvin Hopkins probably could have a little bit more take on that, but I think he looked poised. I think he had a chip on his shoulders too. I think he carried himself well and he led the team well. And all plays, I attribute those plays of throwing and catching plays to Christian Anderson being able to draw back and actually giving him time to the O-line, giving him time to throw the ball and to read his options. Christian being poised and actually being confident in his throws, and also Brent Davis for drawing up those plays, and also the players, the slot backs or the wide receivers who actually made their man miss or move on them to get in that open space. I think they all worked collectively together in order to make those plays and make those touchdowns. And that's what we want to see because we know if if Christian had a bad game that day, if he wasn't focusing the game, if he wasn't leading the way he was supposed to, or if we called the wrong play, if the slot back didn't make a move, it would never work as beautifully as it did. So I think it started from Brent Davis and the offensive coaches, and then it trickled down to Christian Anderson because they gave him that confidence to play how he played. And we saw the best of Christian Anderson last weekend. We saw him at his element. We saw him at his best. He was thriving in an element where he could actually run the ball and he could actually throw the ball. And the coaches gave him that confidence. And through that confidence, he gave it to the other players in which they can make their plays and make their moves and get an open space. So Christian is definitely a great leader and great quarterback. And he showed it last weekend.
The strides he's made, right? And I look at, back in the day, I've been around the program a lot. And back in the day, Army quarterbacks, this is probably Monken. Their progressions were pretty much, you knew what receiver they were going to throw to, right? The play was designed to go one way. And if that receiver was covered, the ball was thrown anyway, Right. And now to see Christian Anderson progress to maybe the second choice or even the third choice sometimes in the progressions is pretty impressive. And that, I think, you got to give the quarterback's coach really credit there. I think Cody Worley and even Coach Brent Davis, too, the offensive coordinator, right, for working with these guys, because that's something that wasn't in this Army offense in the past. I mean, probably when Kelvin gets there, it probably is there, but before Kelvin, probably not. I mean, so they've done a really good job with the quarterbacks and working on the passing game. Kel, you can attest to this. I mean, I've been at practices too. Yeah. People think you guys just run 99.9% option plays, during practice. Now you put a lot of work in the passing game.
Yeah, we do. I mean, especially in practice, when we're going skelly or doing other things like that, like one-on-ones, no matter what, I think the quarterbacks always have an emphasis of, throwing the receivers in space, trying to get us in space, looking at second options. And it started, you're right, it started when Monken got to West Point. And we started seeing success, because after we started seeing success, I think these other teams started to realize that, okay, these boys can play. So when you in a obvious throwing situation, you have to practice this in practice. Like, you have to get the O-line on board for them to block and create space in time for the quarterback. And you have to allow your quarterback to make second or third reads. And we saw it in Temple game 2017 when Kevin Hopkins came in there with 1 minute left in the game, and he was making the second and third check. He was throwing check downs or making second, third reads, because that comes with success. So the more that we have success, the more these teams start to game plan for our throwing ability, and we have to practice this and practice. So it's a huge testament to the players and how hard they work, and it's a huge testament to the coaches actually seeing that and seeing the success that we had and started to practice that in practice.
Yeah, I hear a lot, like when after post-game press conference, well, tell us about the play, right? And if it's a passing play, you hear like the quarterback, either Jabari Laws or Christian Anderson or Tyler say, well, we practiced this, right? We practiced this all week. Well, that means you're practicing it not once, not twice, right? I mean, you're going over it enough times to where it becomes like almost academic and just natural, right? I mean, it's not like, hey, we practice this Thursday during Skelly. No, you're working on it through the week, and maybe in the past week too, they might be coaches could be saving a play, right, that they might not call in the game practice week, and then the following week still working on it, right?
I mean, practice makes perfect. We always talk about that. I know it's a cliche, but practice makes perfect. And the best, Coach Ward harped on that one when I was a player, and I'm pretty sure he still does this with the slides. And we talk about leaving on time. We talk about executing our routes correctly. We talk about practicing, executing things so many times. We might do it like 2,000 times in a week, and just to get it perfect. And he would always play us this video of Marvin Gaye. I heard it through the grapevine, and he's singing a cappella, and he's stopping his voice, and he's going back where the beat should be. You know what I mean? It's those small details. If you continue to practice that, you're gonna get it right on cue every time. So, you know what I mean? Of course, these guys going here and practice this 2,000 times a week, running the same play. And obviously, Monken. Let's talk about Monken. He's gonna get it right. If it doesn't look right, he's gonna get it right no matter what.
No doubt. I mean, that's a great story with Tucker Waugh, and heard it through the grapevine. I didn't know that one, man. I guess so. We talked about the offense a little bit. Jacoby Buchanan's really come on in the last couple weeks. I mean,
Fire those Buchanans.
that is true. Shout out to Ross Tucker,
funny.
right, for that one.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Man, he's really picked it up. No Anthony Atkins against Liberty.
Right.
So was Kay Bernard and Jacoby getting most of the carries at fullback, and that dude's a workhorse, right? And I mean, you look at people that just bounce off him, they bounce off Jacoby and just hit his physical style, right? I mean, he reminds you a lot of Darnell Woolfolk, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, he does. He does. I was about to say that. They both run with their pads low, and they both run leaning forward. You know what I mean? I'll be scared to be a defender, obviously. I know it's a lot of times where I had to go block for Darnell in the inside, and sometimes I get trampled over, and that hurt. Like, it hurt. You know what I mean? Next morning, I'll be hurting. So it's the same for – I called him Biscuit back in the day. I call him Biscuit when I was a player. But it's the same for Jacoby. He runs with his pass low, and he runs forward. And I feel like defenders really underestimate his ability to run through him. But also, he's fast on his feet. He's not a slow guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like Darnell Woolfolk. But they're two different players. I think Jacoby's bringing it to a new height. Every generation is going to be a player who takes it to the next height. And that's what Jacoby's doing. He's fast. He's physical. He's agile. I feel like you can put him at any position, to be honest, to me, because he's so quick on his feet. But he runs forward. He leans forward for that extra 1 yard, and he fights for that extra 1 yard. He's tough. No defense can compete with that.
I know that going into that game, he had picked up 12 fourth down. He converted 12 fourth downs on the season going into that game. I think he had a couple more against Liberty. So, but then you think of him, okay, he's a short yardage guy, right? But he's so much more than that, right? He's so much more than like just, hey, let's bring him in on third down to get a yard. Let's bring him in on fourth down. If you need him to carry the load at fullback, he can certainly do it. He showed it last year, right, against Air Force. Right. I believe he had that last drive. He really was key in that. So, going into this Navy game, I mean, when you could put Jacoby Buchanan in the backfield and say, okay, guys, we block him up front. You know how physical these Army-Navy games are, right? I mean, he seems like a perfect guy to have on your offense. And, the offensive line, Cal, I don't know if you can watch it that closely during the Liberty game. They're playing well, and I think Connor Bishop at center is really, he returned a couple games ago due to injury. He was out a bunch, and now he's back. And, I mean, coaches go over tape, and they had him for 17 knockdowns in the game against Liberty. When you're talking at your center, that's pretty impressive. And he seemed to be he's solidifying that offensive line, and they're having pretty much the same 5 to 7 guys play. They got a good rotation going up there. They're keeping guys fresh. And so I think it's working, and you're going to need those guys, no doubt, as healthy as possible heading into this Navy game, right?
Yeah, I mean, you are, but center is one of those positions where it's like the quarterback position, right, of the team. Or center is a quarterback position on O-line. Your center is the captain of that O-line. He takes control and command of that whole line, and he makes people want to work harder. So I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's competing at a level where he wants everybody else to compete with him. And that's what you want on your O-line. That's what you want as a captain on your O-line, a senior on your O-line, or somebody that has experience playing that position. You want somebody that's going to take the command, just like a quarterback in a huddle or whatever, So he's definitely playing at a high level. To harp on Jacoby again, I think a lot of people may think he's a short down back, only because we're not really an offense who pride ourselves on footwork. We're an offense who pound and play. If we can get 2 yards every play to get a first down, every 3 yards every play to get a first down, we're going to do that. So we don't really pride ourselves on footwork. And at the fullback position, making people miss, he's going to run through you. So oftentimes it's 3 people trying to tackle him, and that 4th person come tackle him. But if you give him just a little space, a little crease, he's going to take off. It's touchdown. It's open season for him. So, and that's all he needs is that little space. He's not a slot back. He's a fullback. He needs that little space, and he's going to take off. Touchdown.
If you're watching us here, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them for Kel and I will answer them. So we talked about the offense a lot, the defense. We talked about their fourth down stops, but I wrote on the website about Andre Carter. Right, you look at the stat line for the Liberty game. He had 1 tackle, no sacks, but his impact on the game, you can't really measure it through stats because he had Willis thinking. He was in Willis's head a lot in that game. I thought. I don't know what you thought. I thought he was in his head. He had Willis on the move. And it seemed like Willis was uncomfortable a lot of the times when I don't know how many quarterback pressures Andre Carter had, but it looked like it was close to double digits in this game.
Well, it's senior day. It was senior day for Willis, right? Senior day for Liberty. He's a senior quarterback. I felt like, and I heard the commentator say this throughout the whole game, he felt like he had to put the team on his shoulder for some reason. And when you coming in, you playing one of the top leading, defenders in the nation, who has like one of the top sacks in the nation, like you're gonna be a little nervous. So now you start second guessing your ability to actually perform. He tried to put a team on his back. It's senior day. You mix all those things together. Like, I feel like he was anxious as well. I feel like he was nervous. He made a lot of bad reads. He thrown a lot of bad balls and made a lot of bad decisions because of those things. As far as Andre Carter, I think he did his job this game. I don't think he necessarily outperformed his ability like he done in past games or throughout the season, but he did his job this game. Yeah. He put pressure on the quarterback when it was necessary and it was due, and it caused the quarterback Willis to make mistakes. So, I mean, in my book, he gets 100% for that.
No doubt. And so Willis, his receivers dropped a lot of passes at the end of that game, right? I mean, but also at the end, he kind of lost his cool. I mean, he threw the interception at Jabari Moore. Jabari Moore went down to a knee. He didn't want, giving himself up, and he kind of like just touched him, I guess, on the shoulder. An Army brother, of course, is going to get, say, don't touch my guy, and that starts, some stuff. And, Bo Nicholas Paul, he hit in the back. Bo Nicholas Paul had his back turned, and Willis threw, I guess, you consider that a punch that he threw, Kelly, you think, or no?
I don't consider it a punch.
More of a push, or I don't know.
Yeah, more of a push, but he definitely lost his cool. He took his anger out and frustration out on the Army players because, let's be honest, our defense was whooping him the whole game. Our whole team was whooping him the whole game. So he definitely took his anger out on that. But also, I feel like he was frustrated with himself, so he had to take it out on other people, really. And to contest to, the interception of Jabari Moore, that was a terrific play on Jabari Moore. He came back to the ball, and if you actually watch the film, you'll see that the wide receiver didn't come back to the ball at all. It's just a tale of two guys, opposite sides of the ball, who wants it more. I don't think it was necessarily a bad throw by Willis. I just think that the wide receiver didn't want it. I think they gave up by the end of the game, and Jabari Moore won it because that's what we're told to do. That's what we practice for. We play to the last whistle, And Jabari Moore came and made a terrific play.
Well, he's closed out 2 wins now, right? He closed out that Air Force win with the big knockdown in the end zone, and then he has the interception against Liberty. Let's see what he's got in store for Navy right next Saturday at MetLife Stadium. I mean, now. I guess let's move on from the Liberty game and let's talk about this week, right? This week, the jerseys are released for the Army-Navy game. And so Army puts theirs out yesterday. And the Special Forces Command are the in tribute to the Special Forces Command. What do you think about those jerseys? I guess United We Stand will be on the back of the jerseys, which, I mean, when it's the 20th anniversary of 9/11 earlier this year, they're playing the game in New Jersey, very close to New York City. I mean, what do you think about the jerseys?
From an aesthetic point of view, I think the jerseys are dope. I love them. I wish I could play. I wish I could suit up one more time just to play in the jersey. I'd stand on the sideline if I could just put the jersey and the uniform on. But I think they're beautiful. I think the accents with the brown and with the kind of like the light brown and a beige, I think they're beautiful. I think they represent a lot about this nation and about the men and women who were called to take the task of our nation, to defend our nation in 9/11. So
yeah.
But it's dope to me. I like it. I like the concept and I like the unit. I like who they picked this time because usually we pick units from like World War II or World War One, and it's just like, the players like, I wouldn't even lie. I wouldn't even have thought that. I wouldn't even have twinkle in my dad's eye then. But this is something that this represents our generation, our era, just something that happened when we were alive. We saw, a lot of people's fathers might have been in service, mothers been in service when they were called to defend this nation. So this is something that can hit home. We got a lot of guys from New York. We got a lot of guys from New Jersey. And, we might have guys from DC where the Pentagon was hit. So it's like this is something that we can say is ours. And I feel like the old grads in the past 20 years, those guys who was out there fighting like Will Huff and all these guys and Jim Slomka, these guys who graduated after and was actually in a fight for during this era of this war, can actually be proud of and say, like, that's the Army team. It represents something that we actually lived, saw, and fought in. So I think it's dope.
Great point. You know what? I like the helmets. The helmets really stand out to me. I mean, that's something different. The design of the helmets is something different than what we've seen with these alternate Army Navy jerseys on the Army side, right? There's actually some design to them this time, and I think that really stands out too.
Yeah, that camo, I like that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. What was your favorite jersey to wear in an Army Navy game? Would you say?
Honestly, the cop out is the Pando Commando.
Yeah,
that's the cop out. That's the cop out. But I would say honestly, it's the big red one. The big red one was my favorite jersey to wear. I think that was the best.
What, for any reason or just?
I think everybody just looked clean in it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody just looked clean. I think it fit us perfectly, and the design of it was accents of red, and we just looked like a bunch of ballers on the field. We was ready to play because everybody looked good. We felt good. And that game, it was a fight down to the last whistle, and everybody across the board, the whole team made plays. Even guys that didn't even get a chance to make plays during the whole season. I think that whole year was a great year for the program, and we were actually solidified as a brotherhood. So the Big Red Run kind of put a cap on that season.
Did you check out Navy's jerseys today?
Yeah, I checked them out. Did you see? I think I forgot who tweeted it out. Somebody tweeted it out. I think it's Barstool.
Yeah, probably Captain Connor Crean had something, right?
Yeah, they said it was like the patriotic popsicle where it was like real.
To me, when I look at that jersey, I think that they're almost. It's got a little Air Force in it, man.
It does have a little Air Force in it.
To me, got a little Air Force in it. It seems like Air Force wore a version of that jersey again when they played Navy. Maybe I don't know. It's I don't think when you go Nike for Army, right, and you go Under Armour for Navy, there you go. I mean, they try, right? I mean, there's an attempt there, but I mean, I saw Cameron Kinley, right? He played for Navy. I think last year was his last season. He got a shot with the Buccaneers in the preseason camp, and he had like a tweet out there. This is how it's done, or adding like Army equipment and stuff. And I'm like, I don't think you're going to win this one, buddy. I mean, not because I represent. We cover Army football here at Black Knight Nation, but man, I don't know how you can say your jersey's more tighter than United We Stand. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the best Navy jersey, from my opinion, was 2019 season.
Okay.
I think that was their best. Out of the 4 years that I played and the 5 years that I've been in West Point community, I think the 2019 jerseys and the whole uniform was the best I've seen.
I'm not really the historian when it comes to these jerseys, but they had a year where they had like boats on their helmets, didn't they, or something like that, or aircraft? Did they do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they did that. When we wore the big red ones, they were in the white uniforms with it looked like lightning bolts everywhere on the helmet. It was like blue and gold.
Yeah.
And then the next year, my senior season, it was like kind kind of like a blue jersey with it was like a old school throwback jersey with the
Yeah.
stripes going down with the yellow pants, and they had a cool helmet. I think they had the boat on there actually. 2017, I want to say.
Maybe. I don't know. I just remember like
Yeah,
that was, I mean, I don't know. I'd rather just go with the traditional helmet if I'm going to do that. But that's or like what Army's doing this year with the camo helmet. I think that
yeah,
really works with the
yeah.
really matches up with the uniform. And man, it's certainly not about the jerseys when they take the field on next Saturday, right, Kel? You can attest to that. The
Wow.
jerseys mean nothing. The jerseys are
Yeah.
good for the week before, right? To talk.
Yep.
But all of that talk is over with next week when you start preparing for the game. I thought that Jeff Monken said yesterday during his press conference that this was a week where, you kind of want to heal the team up, so to speak. You're not going to go hard every day. You might not even practice every day. Is that kind of how this week was for you guys that you remember the week before Navy? I mean, were you constantly on the field running plays, or were you guys kind of a little bit lifted maybe in the film room doing that kind of stuff?
It differed every year. So, my plebe year, we were grinding, pounding. We were grinding. We didn't really, I think that was a year, it was 2016. I don't think really analytics and stuff like that started to come out about, practicing at a certain amount of time or, giving the body time to rest or heal. I think that we were just trying to make a statement, and everybody was on board with that, from the coaches to the players. We didn't care. We went into Army Navy sore, and we came out victorious.
Yeah.
So, but as the years go on, I think the coaching staff, they got better at allowing us to rest up and heal, especially those players that play a huge role into the game. They gave us chances to heal. And I mean, we had guys, one year we had guys getting injured with ACL tears because we were going hard before Army Navy, So
Yeah.
we had to learn from our mistakes, and I think Coach Monk is doing a great job of doing that. He has to give them time to heal. Because this game, we all know, this game is a physical game. No matter if Navy was 0-10 right now, 0-9, whatever, and we're undefeated, it's going to come down to the last whistle because that's our style of offense. We both carry the ball, and we both have possession time. So he has to give these players time to heal, and I think he recognizes that.
Yeah, and you look at, like, we talk about how physical the game is, right? And I thought that the Liberty game was pretty physical for Army. I saw a couple guys get a little banged up in that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those guys, and there's, like, you talk about, like, an Anthony Atkins who didn't play, right? Maybe this bye week helps him out a little bit, maybe get closer to being able to play against Navy. Because, I mean, the records might be different, right? I think they're actually I think Army's 8-3. I think Navy's 3-8. So I think they're on the little opposite. I know Navy has 3 wins. But they did play pretty well in their last game against Temple. And if they can find the right mix, I mean, you look at last year's game. That game's 15-0. But I mean, that game's close. And then was it Cedric Cunningham who caught the quarterback from behind? I think on a play that kind of stopped them from scoring a touchdown. Yeah. And Army had the goal line stand, and that totally changed the game around. So that game is nip and tuck, and Army had a 9-win season last year. So, I mean, the Army was probably the favorite last year and is the favorite this year. But, it's going to be I mean, you can attest to what these games are like. I mean, they're like
it's really who wants it more. That's honestly, these games are brotherhood versus brotherhood. Who's willing to fight for their brothers harder than the other team? Who's willing to lay down, bleed, and get back up and continue to go and continue to fight more than their opponent. That's what it's about. Who's going to represent, our student section, our core cadets, or our midshipmen? Who's going to represent our side better? It's a huge rivalry. And honestly, I honestly got Army. Not just because I'm an Army, alum, or I play football Army, but I think they wanted more. I think they improved themselves this whole season that we wanted more. This side of the Hudson wanted more, So I think it's going to be a good game.
It's different at being at MetLife Stadium. Hasn't been played there since 2002, I think. And, it's normally Army's hitting the road, right, and going down to Philadelphia. Sometimes the game's in Baltimore, and that's almost like a home game for Navy pretty much, right? For being so close. Well, now this game is where probably Army stays at the same hotel that they probably do, right, for home games, I bet you, in this one. I would guess that they would stay. Yeah, and that's probably like 20 minutes away from the stadium. So,
Right.
that maybe it's somewhat of an advantage for Army. And you look at, you look at just like you said, I think I've been writing this a little bit, Kel, they want to get to 10 wins this season, right? Have another double-digit winning season. Got to win this game, right? They had to win Liberty. They're on a little bit of a streak. This has been a season of streaks for them. 4 in a row at the start, 3 in the middle, and now 4 in a row now. And let's see if they can keep it going. And then we'll see where bowl game they're going to go to, right?
Yeah.
I have my thoughts on that, but we'll see how that shakes out.
I hope the boys get a better opportunity. I'm not, I think the Armed Forces Bowl is a great host. I think that was a great a bowl to go to, but we've been there so many times. I hope they get another opportunity to go somewhere else to showcase their talent, to experience another city, and experience the bowl environment in a different city.
I agree. I thought last year's game was pretty, even though they had a fight to get into a bowl game, right? I thought the Liberty Bowl was a different venue, right? It was a Power 5 opponent in West Virginia. I'm hearing maybe the Gasparilla Bowl for Army, and you think about what the heck is the Gasparilla Bowl, right?
I don't even know what it is. I'm gonna look it up now.
I could be wrong. I think it's in the Tampa area, if I'm correct. I know it's in Florida, and I think it's going to be 2 days before, at the 23rd. I think the game's going to be played. We've talked about this on other previous podcasts with the Myrtle Beach Bowl, the Armed Forces Bowl, the First Responder Bowl. Would they go back to Texas? They just played Air Force there. Do they want to go back to Dallas again and play? Well, I'm sure they'll go wherever they get a bid, right? But I think, like you're right, I think if they can get to maybe Florida, right? I mean, Florida is a big place for them to recruit in that state, right? That would be good to play a bowl game. They've never played a bowl game in Florida, Army, to my knowledge.
We haven't.
No, so that would be good. And we'll see what kind of opponent we get. Army gets. I like to see them get a Power 5 team. I really would. Like a mid-major, a group of 5 team. With all due respect, please, a MAC team that's 6-6, 7-5. No.
Yeah. I think all the teams that we played over the years though were great teams, But I think Army's at a point where they need that challenge in that bowl game. Like our freshman year, we played North Texas.
Yep.
And where did we play? It was Heart of Dallas Bowl.
Yeah.
And then our sophomore year, we played San Diego State at Armed Forces Bowl. Junior year, we played Houston Armed Forces Bowl. Like they're all good teams. Don't get me wrong. They were all good teams, but I feel like Army is in need of that challenge, just like they were last year when they played, West Virginia. It brings out the best in competition.
And with all due respect too, it's also getting that now. Yes, they've had Power 5 wins when Jeff Monken's been there over Duke and the like, right, and Wake Forest. But maybe it's I don't know, like trying to get over that hump, so to speak. I mean, that's one thing kind of missing is maybe now is Army going to play Penn State in the Gasparilla Bowl? Probably not, but I mean, because Penn State, right? They're not. They're right on the same. They received the same amount of points in the AP poll than Army did. Does that mean the bowl games are going to match them up? No, Penn State has a little bit more cachet, right? So they're probably going to get. But something like that wouldn't be bad. Like a Big Ten team. Who knows? Maybe an SEC team. I wish I should do my homework better on who the Gasparilla Bowl has ties with. But it's the Gasparilla Bowl, man. Come on. So
I think last year it was canceled. They didn't have it, but apparently they were slotted for South Carolina Gamecocks and then UAB. But it is in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yeah.
I would like to see them have play an SEC team. That would be a huge challenge. I don't think anybody in the SEC could really compete with any defense in the SEC. Could really compete with the way Army runs the triple option. You know what I mean? The way we run the triple option versus Georgia Tech when they were triple option, they were playing SEC teams or they're in the ACC. I think nobody can compete the way we run it. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it was you hear all the talk about, the college football playoff and stuff, but as, following Army, we'll find out probably I was hoping before Sunday when they have the
Yeah.
kind of selection show, I was hoping that you find out before then who the opponent's going to be, but it might be on Sunday where the Black Knights find out where they're going to go. I guess that's good because they'll know before the Navy game, right?
Yeah.
But like a Kentucky, I mean, I don't know. You're not going to get Kentucky, maybe Arkansas, maybe a team like that, maybe
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Texas A&M. If you're going to get any team out of the SEC, as I was looking over the standings real quick. Well, you want to talk about this? What's going on in college football coaching?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean it's
And
kind of crazy the last couple of days where so Oklahoma's playing their rivalry game, I guess, against Oklahoma State, and a couple of days later, Lincoln Riley is the new coach at USC, and
yeah.
last night goes down. Brian Kelly, after I think 10 years at Notre Dame,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's now Notre Dame's winningest coach,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to LSU.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's a revolving door here, and it's going to be interesting to see what the next move is because right now Oklahoma doesn't have a coach, right?
Right.
Notre Dame, they say Notre Dame's going to hire the defensive coordinator to stay on staff, but
Mm-hmm.
look at what Cincinnati's done with Luke Fickell, right? And you think that
Yeah.
that guy deserves, is going to be looking, and he's going to be a prime candidate for these major jobs. Man, the money that they're getting, Kel.
Yeah.
It's
I was gonna say, I think I'm in the wrong profession, man. I think I'm in the wrong profession. I need to be a coach or something.
it's crazy, right? When you
Yeah, it
can
is.
10 million now it's these like lifetime contracts, and
Mm-hmm.
if we can steer this a little bit in the direction of Army, I'll speak on this. And like Army fans, right, every time a coaching vacancy it comes up in a Power 5 school, maybe not a top notch, top level Power 5 school, but a Power 5 school in a big time conference, Jeff Monken's name's going to be mentioned. And Army
Mm-hmm.
fans, after the dip in the waters at Kansas recently,
Yeah.
want to say, hey, give Coach Monken a lifetime contract. Give Coach Monken these lifetime contracts are what like Lincoln Riley are getting and Brian Kelly are
Right.
getting, right? They're getting these
Right.
10-year, $100 million contracts at these really major football quote factories, I guess.
Yeah.
These football powers, so to speak. And I just don't know. That's obviously not something that West Point can do. But we talked about it a little bit that what Coach Monken's done at West Point and what he's accomplished there.
Right.
If you're an Army fan, he's entitled to look, for see what's out there, right? And he's entitled to what he's accomplished at West Point. And would it be great to have Jeff Monken at West Point for the rest of his career? That would Army fans would sign that tomorrow, for that, because of everything he's accomplished and everything that this program has accomplished with him at it. But it's a business, college football, and these things. It's weird because who saw Lincoln Riley going to USA, right?
Right.
Who saw Brian Kelly going to LSU?
Right.
I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop, so to speak, and I'm sure there's going to be some dominoes, so to speak, and there's going to be some openings that create opportunity. So
yeah, I think if Monken does leave, I think he would be leaving to accomplish another challenge. I think he would be trying to tackle another challenge because I remember he was telling us a story where before he even got the job at Army, he was telling some of his buddies that he was going to Army, and some of those guys kind of laughed at him. Was like, "Don't do it." Some of the other coaches in the college football world, "Don't do it, don't do it. That's a dead end. That's a dead end job. Those guys can't win." And he took it on. He took that on as a challenge,
yeah.
And he came up here and he came up to West Point and changed the program, the face of the program completely, and turned it to a winning program every single year after his first year there. So I think if he leaves, he's probably going to be looking for that next challenge because he's a competitor. He's a natural competitor. He likes to win. He loves to win. And, I think he wants, if he does leave, he probably going to be looking for something else to do. It's not about the money. I don't think it's about the money with Coach Monken. I don't. I think he's okay. I'm not going to speak on his pockets, but he's okay. I think he's comfortable and he's a very humble guy. I don't think he's really chasing another check or the biggest check. I think he genuinely cares about the guys, in his program. So ain't care about his coaching staff. So I think if he leaves, it's just solely off him being a competitor and what he wants to fulfill another dream.
It's something certainly to keep an eye on. We want to have our focuses on Army Navy, right? We don't want to have to. I find myself plugging the Twitter search Jeff Monken every once in a while just to see, what might be going on. But now, I mean, this is the week to get all that out of our system, and then next week, it's Army Navy week, and tomorrow there's a press day and media day down at MetLife Stadium. Coach Monken and the captains will be down there to hype up the game. Those are always fun to attend, just to get both sides. And you really see the camaraderie between not only Army and the coaches and Army's players, but Navy and Army too. I mean, we can talk about this all day long, and Steven, you have talked about this. It's a different ballgame when it's Army and Navy than when it's Army and Air Force. The respect, the relationship that Jeff Monken has with Ken Niumatalolo, right? Mm-hmm. The Navy coach, they're really good friends, and they're gonna it's like a fist fight. Coach Monken almost describes it, right? But at the end, there's a lot of respect. And Kel, I remember, maybe you could speak on this, and I didn't talk to you about this before the podcast, but I remember your senior year, right? Mm-hmm. And the moments after the Army Navy game. And I remember, I believe it was Ivan Jasper, their quarterbacks coach, that came up to you and had some positive words to say to you after that game.
Yeah,
that does not happen in rivalry games a lot.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, I don't know if you could speak on that, but that was just that was a moment where I felt like, man, Navy had won that game, but Jasper still, and I believe Jasper also back in the day with Trent Steelman also consoled Trent Steelman after the game. That's a lot of respect there.
It is a lot of respect. We spent, the seniors that game and the seniors on the opposite side of the ball. We spent 4+ years trying to fight for each other and put our team on the map to be respected in the college football world. And I feel like we all did that. One team had to lose that game, and I think we still respected each other's game. It's not like it's Air Force. Air Force they lack respect for Army culture, Army brotherhood, and we've known that for years. But it started at the top with the head coaches, the two bosses up there being friends. They've been in multiple places together, other programs together, and that just trickled down. Coach Monken never said anything bad about Navy, but the fact that we had to beat those guys, so it's always been respect, and I think their coaches saw that in us, and they saw it in me. I was a guy who started early in my career and played against them early in my career, so I think he was just giving respect was due, and we all did the same to them too. We were sad about it, but at the end of the day, they beat us fair and square. They won it. They earned it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it just shows that it's just this is different. I mean, and you see the polls out there sometimes. What's the best college football rivalry? And I mean, we might be a little biased, but I mean, you have personal experience through it, right? For 4 years, I covered it for 12, 13 years. I've covered the games. I mean, go do an Army Navy game and experience college football in its purest form. That's all I have to. That's all I can say.
The best part about the Army Navy games for me is the fact that a lot of these players we all come from different backgrounds. That's the beauty about college football. That's the beauty about a team. You get a bunch of people from different backgrounds come together and play together, and to see people who come from privileged backgrounds or who struggled in life, to see their people at this game, to see everybody fill the stands and we all fighting for the same goal. I think that's the beauty about it for me. I always loved it. I always loved seeing my family in the stands, and they saw the enjoyment in their face and saw everybody's family there. And it was the only game televised, so America's watching us. People around the world are watching us, and, ultimately we fight for the same thing, but that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see when you guys play that game, right? When you get into an end zone or when you make a play in the Army Navy game, I mean, you're showing out, and that the cameras, dude, the cameras are on you, right? And I mean, you're looking for the cameras, and you're looking for just to show that emotion and what that means to you, right? And then especially in touchdowns where you guys have always had the whole team run down, no matter if it's a 1 yard run or a 60-yard run. Everybody's
Right.
doing this celebrate. That's what Coach Monken brought to this program too, to build that brotherhood up. It wasn't just the one person who scored the touchdown, right? It was the other 10 guys involved. And I think that those, it's just incredible. Yeah, you could have the tsunami start, right, to get you guys all fired up. And you could the march-ons and all that stuff. But when it gets down to the game and 60 minutes, it's one of the more physical football games of the season in college football, and it has a powerful meaning on both sides. And man, I tell you, I can't wait to get down to MetLife Stadium next Saturday and be there. I used to have what I did every Army Navy game, right? I used to hit the tailgates first, run back, watch the march on, go back to tailgates, look for some grads to talk to, and then actually, the last Army Navy game I covered was 2019. I think it was your senior year, actually, 2019. And I was able to watch the game completely from the field. And that was a perspective that I never gotten before. Always watching from the press box, and sometimes the crowd's so loud you don't know. You have your head down typing on your computer, and you might miss something. I didn't miss a thing that game. And that was just something that, if like I said, if you guys can it's a bucket list item, no doubt, Army Navy game.
Yeah,
and like we said, I think it'll be the same this year as it's been in a couple of years past, where the game comes down, be a tight, highly contested game. And of course,
hope it's not that way. I hope it's not close. I hope it's not close. I hope those boys go out there and just whoop Navy. That's what I hope. And it doesn't have to be close,
It doesn't, no.
But we have to fix some mistakes, obviously, because we all know that the foolish penalties and stuff like that can cost us a game. But I think they're well prepared and they're about to attack it. I've always, to harp back on Ken and Coach Monken's relationship, I always describe the game as, imagine like Central Park or something, like City Park or something, and you got the two old guys sitting down just playing chess against each other. And then, they're just two old guys playing chess against each other. They're on the opposite side of the field, just literally moving pieces on the field, and all their pieces are just slugging it out in the trenches. That's what the Army Navy is like for us.
That's a great description. What I was going to say? I was going to say last year's game 15. I would say Army really hasn't had a kind of a blowout game in this series, right? But 15-0. That's pretty impressive. That I believe that's the first time Army had shut out Navy, I believe, in the series. That's pretty much as close to a blowout in these games as you get to a point, right? So we'll see if Army can do the same thing. Offense has been playing well. Defense, since I wrote Kel, since that Wake Forest game where they gave up 70, right?
Yeah.
The defense has given up 57 points in the last 4 games total. So it's definitely the message was received. They got into the locker room after the game, and you've been in that locker room. They made a pact to each other that, hey, we're not going to let the stupid penalties affect us anymore, and we're going to we want to win out. And so far, so good. 4 wins since that game. Let's see if they can make it 5 against Navy. Man, it's been fun breaking it down. So much good insight from you, Kel. Stuff that dude, I can't provide I can't provide that stuff. I can't provide Marvin Gaye. Heard it through the grapevine. I didn't know that. I was a beat writer back then. I should have known that. That stuff is like inside information, man.
I appreciate you having me once again, man. It's always my pleasure. I love talking to you, and I'm willing to do it anytime, as long as you have me. So.
No doubt, we're gonna call on you. So you best be ready. We're gonna call on you for some breakdowns. Because being a former player and being a player that's been through this coaching system with Monken, you can provide insight that we can't get anywhere else. Simple as that. We can't get anywhere else about what you telling us about the quarterbacks, the slot backs, the running backs, the offensive line, and just the locker room and stuff. So we appreciate it. We're gonna sign off here, guys. If you want to follow us on YouTube, our YouTube channel, Black Knight Nation. We're all over the podcast, Apple Podcasts. You can hear Kel and I break down this. You can hear our interview with Kel Walker that we did earlier this year. Pete Dawkins, Darnell Wolfall.
The legends.
Yeah, we got some good podcasts, some good interviews, and we're gonna have some more coming up. We're working on a few more. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention this, man. He's one of your former teammates. I should have mentioned this before. We're gonna have Andrew King on later in the week. Andrew
Yes,
King,
sir.
Andrew King, we've had on before. He's in Fordham Law School right now, right? Former Army captain. Well, he was involved in the kind of the making of these uniforms. He was the guy. The pictures that you see of these uniforms, Andrew King is wearing the uniforms in these pictures. So
Yeah, I
he
saw
was like,
that.
yeah. So we're gonna have Andrew King on. I think Friday night, a little later Friday night. We're gonna talk to him about that. We're gonna talk to him about that big 2016 game, right, where you guys broke the streak. So we're gonna have Andrew King on later in the week, and we're trying to get another guest on. I can't really announce it right now, but it's going to be a little bit more about the uniforms. So we're going to talk a little uniforms this weekend. Next week, we'll get on a couple more guests. And Kel, thanks a lot, and we're going to do this again. And as usual, we'll sign off here, and maybe you could do the honors of signing off with the two words that Army players are going to say a lot the next 2 weeks. So
I'm gonna give them 4. Go Army, beat Navy.